Dubai forces you in a positive way to become the best version of yourself and be able to succeed in your job, succeed in your career, succeed as a person.
We can do it.
We are doing it.
We are doing. The question is, what's the most powerful way of redistributing income today?
Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of the RIV Podcast. Today's guest is Professor Massimiliano Marzo. Max is PhD at Yale. He is professor at the University of Bologna, professor of finance, and he's been teaching for multiple years. He's also a chief economist at RIV Capital, and he has also multiple experiences as board member in many companies in Italy, actually. Welcome, Massimiliano.
Thank you very much, Guido. It's a pleasure for being here. And thank you.
Welcome,
also.
Max. How is Dubai treating you right now? You don't come very often, but how is it treating you this time?
Yeah, you're very right. I don't come very often because I'm, very much engaged in my activities, both research and consultancy in Italy. But let me tell to you that each time I come here to Dubai, it's always a big pleasure. Okay, so Dubai treats me excellently. Okay, in a very excellent way.
What
and
do
for
you
me,
like
has been a discovery
about Dubai?
What do I like? About Dubai is really flourishing at the moment. Okay, in the sense that you can really understand that a lot of very important things are going on. Okay, from all over the aspects of interest. So I personally do think that this area of the world is going to climb up the international economic scene in the next few years. And I do really think that you see this, you can walking through the streets, and also if you read also the press, international press, you see very clearly that this place, Dubai, United Arab Emirates in general, so they are going to play a crucial role within the international financial system. This is because of the favorable environment with respect to financial finance capital, and the international regulations, which is absolutely relevant for that, very attractive, and an environment which is business friendly, which is something that actually, unfortunately, we can say, in the Occidental world, we are daily losing, okay, on a day-by-day losing, okay? So it's, I come from a country like Italy where, well, it's not probably the best in terms of the international ranking for doing business, okay? But on the other hand, this is not a problem. Now it's becoming a problem gradually, which characterizes not only Italy, but more in general, the Occidental world, okay, the Western economies, okay, and this is a problem, okay, and you explain, okay, here we got a large amount of capital available for making important investments, and the ability to foresee in the future, collectively foresee in the future, and understanding, so creating a friendly environment in terms of friendly regulation for finance. Okay, this is very important, and this you see very clearly on a daily basis how this attracts continuous amount of business companies, financial companies, and not only, of course.
It's nice because in Dubai there are 80% of the population are immigrants, like us from other parts of the world. So it creates an ecosystem where a lot of different cultures can interact. But personally, I already said this in other episodes of the podcast, what I really like is that people that you find in Dubai have all the same goal of having success in life. Because from the moment that you decide to leave your country in order to live in a place like Dubai, Dubai forces you in a positive way to become the best version of yourself and be able to succeed in your job, succeed in your career, succeed as a person. So all the environment that has been created here, I think, is really positive for businesses, as you said, financial aspects, but also for people as a social environment. It's really, really positive, really motivating people to become the best version of them.
Yeah, I think that this is true, and we need to think about why this is true. Okay, this is true, but we need to understand deeply and see why this is true. And the reason is very simple, in my opinion. So people in general, all over the world, they ask to, in general, to the people who is governing them. So I'm asking everybody in the world ask to their governments very simple things, extremely simple things. People want to grow up, improve their own situation, okay, economic situations, social situations, and be more in a safe situation for himself and for their descendants.
Secure their future.
Secure the future, both in terms, sometimes also in terms of physical secure the future, okay? But this is not something which is not relevant for our conversation. So people actually would like to secure the future for themselves and their descendants. The problem is where this is possible in a fast way, in a relatively fast way, in a safe way. The problem is that Western societies, they created a burden of rules and regulation, which makes everything more difficult. Okay, if you start from the bottom, okay, of the social, I would say social pyramids. Okay, so if you start from the bottom, it's very complicated for you to climb up and to make more sure that you can ensure to yourself as your descendants the social position that you think you deserve.
Is it a problem of taxation?
Well, Guido, it's a combination. I think, first of all, yes, I agree. But again, we need to clarify even better this in the sense that, especially for European countries, it's okay. For United States, it's slightly different. But for European countries, we basically built up our economies starting from the end of the 19th century, the beginning of 20th century. We built up our economies, our society, with a strong emphasis on welfare states. Okay, very strong emphasis on welfare states, which is okay, which is true. It's very civil conquest. The problem is that it's no longer sustainable in the sense that the state, at least for Italy, but not only Italy, managed the welfare state in a non-efficient way. Mm. And so this dissipated many resources and was not able to fulfill its main goal, in the sense that the welfare state wants to help poor people who don't have enough resources to protect themselves from illness, bad health, and many other things. Okay, I'm talking about the pension schemes and so on and so forth. But now, this situation, this environment is no longer able to fulfill this goal. So, and personally, I do think that basically we missed this goal. Okay, so because taxes is so heavy in European society, which actually are killing the businesses. And at the same time, the inefficiency of a huge presence of the state in the economy makes a completely inefficient role in managing these aspects. So I do really think, never forget, I like to mention a very important sentence by Robert Nozick, a very important philosopher. He wrote a wonderful book in 1974, Anarchy, State, Utopia. So basically he said, so why do people is going to be willing to suffer a very important set of privations, sufferances, difficulties, just in name of an ideal, okay? An ideal society. Okay, so we never forget that people are persons who have their ambitions, their aspirations. And so we cannot kill them by having a state which actually is so invasive in their life. this is incredible. That's exactly what happens in Europe at the moment. And you see, this is actually one of the problems that Europe has at the moment.
Yeah, the becoming a businessman in Europe or in Italy is really an unpleasant situation right now. I think the taxes wise, but all also the things that come after that. So also the hiring process, you don't find people. People are expecting more. The cost of life has been higher, and the cost of having an employee for an Italian company, for example, is double the salary of the employee, almost. Whilst here, the situation is different. So also companies are willing to hire more people and also pay them more for their skills.
Let me explain this point. Totally agree, first of all. So let me explain this point. So in Italy, for example, but this is true also in Europe, why people have, it costs the double, because a part of the salary goes to the pension scheme, which is managed by the state. It's not difficult to make a very simple computation. And actually I did it together with some other people. So the average working age, a person has 45 years old, who's in the market since 20 years, say, after the graduation. So the question is, what's going to be his amount of money saved for retirement? So if you invested the same amount of money in the financial markets, you will see starting from 20 years ago, you will discover immediately that this guy would have now a much higher amount of money saved for retirement. But since this amount of money is managed inefficiently by the state at the moment, you see that this is poor, and that is a deficit. So this creates. Let me give you another example. Let me quote another example. So we all remember. So what happened in the United States in 94, 95. So everybody. You are young, but you can read on internet. So in year 2000, 2001, there was the boom of internet companies in United States stock markets. And the United States stock markets started in 95 until 21, until the Twin Tower problem, okay? So the stock markets were rushing for 6 years. The question is why? The reason for that was that President Clinton in at the end of 1994, early 1995, essentially privatized the pension system of United States. This flew a lot of money into the stock market, and this money was channeled through the investment in the internet economy that actually gave the boost to United States economy, which is still in place. It is still in place. So European economies seems to have lost the contact, lost the idea that investment creates wealth in the future. Okay, if you lose this mindset, you are basically you get in trouble for your future. You get a huge trouble. Let me tell you also another important point. There is a nice piece of literature, nice piece of evidence by very important colleagues in Stanford University, where it says very clearly, if you do a fiscal policy wrong today, a small mistake in fiscal policy will have a huge implication in terms of the growth rate of GDP 20 years from now. Because the negative effect of fiscal policy, you can't see now. Okay, so the distortions introduced by a bad fiscal policy, they get a huge impact on GDP later on, and so that's actually what we missed. And so if you think about it, Europe at the moment, and these are data, you observe a 40% GDP, which is 40% lower than in the United States. So you have to ask yourself, what is wrong? Okay, so that is something really that actually worries us, and thus makes Europe as a marginal player around the world. And this is true for the reasons that we were essentially mentioning. So now we get an entire area in the world, like the Middle East, We are talking about United Arab Emirates. Now we are here, of course, but we can think about this is also for other countries of the area. Okay, there is a large possibilities. So you see this emerging part of the world, which is emerging, in the international arena. Okay, and Europe gradually is losing
its
the grip. Yeah.
Investment, I think, is a skill that more we go on with time, individuals have to start learning and mastering in their capabilities, because as we discussed in our episode of the podcast with our guests, the investment skills can protect you from uncertainty in the future and can help you secure a future. But we will come back to investments in a second part of the podcast. I wanted to focus a bit on your academic past. So tell us where everything started, from where you started in an academic way.
I would like to say something about
please.
If I can, and
please,
then
please.
Of course I answer your question.
Please.
So I don't want to miss. So there is something, maybe we can come back later. So there is an ongoing debate all over the world about income redistribution among societies. So the question is, what's the most powerful way of redistributing income today? Is taxes? No way. Taxes are very inefficient. The best way of redistributing income today is to give access to people to top-notch investment. So today, top-notch investment around the world can be accessed only by rich people in the world. Rich people can have access to top-notch investment funds with the best performances. The challenge of the future is to allow also to people who can invest only $3, $4 per month to top-notch. But we will come back, because this is going to be the big challenge. Democratization of the investment.
We will talk later about also
later.
tokenization,
You're
which
right.
is one way we can carry.
I think
Absolutely.
tokenization is the answer to this. But
we will come back to that. So let me go and discuss my academic career. So this is, it's a long story. So I graduated. I got my first degree. We call it BA, just to translate in English, but it's not a proper BA. At that time, it was just a BA plus a master degree. The first degree I got in University of Bologna, and I wrote a dissertation on international finance at the time, international economics. And then I decided to apply for a PhD in the United States. I actually got a PhD is also in Italy, but this was an intermediate period, okay? So, but at the end of this, I decided to apply also for a PhD in the United States. I made several applications, okay? At the end of that, I received back an admission letter from several universities, and at the end of this, I decided to go to Yale. Okay, I got me a PhD from Yale University, and there was really a fascinating. Probably, let me tell you, I want to be very honest with you, it was the best period of my life. Okay, so where actually I learned wonderful things, and I am still on the top edge of the international research thanks to what I've learned during that years. So it was an incomparable, an immensely wonderful experience, very tough, extremely tough, okay? But at the end of the day, extremely rewarding in terms of training, knowledge, and having the possibility of having several tools that you can use to make research and understanding the dynamics of economics. That was incredibly challenging, but was good, incredibly good.
Which years are we talking?
So I went to the United States for the first time, so in 1994, and then I stayed there until 2000.
How was it? How was the experience in America in those years?
Let me tell to you, I want to be very honest with you. United States is my second home. Okay, and you see, and I really missed my life in the United States. If you say go to United States now, I can ask you, where is the flight? Where is the plane? I go. Okay, So I have lots of friends there. The life was, I mean, let me tell you, at the very beginning, you have to get familiar with a different environment, but at the end of the day, United States, the experience, the mindset, you're in a free country. You're in a free country. Okay? So you are in a country where you can be yourself. So you don't have to ask permission to anybody. If you are good, you go. Okay? So that's the beauty of United States. Okay? So, and the interesting fact is that you are in a situation where you have available on your fingers the top notch of the top researchers. The best minds in the world are there. Okay? And you have access to Nobel Prizes. You can knock the door and you talk to see a Nobel Prize in economics. I had several times the occasion of having lunch with them. So I was a student, PhD student, coming from a country like Italy, which is a beautiful country, but it's not a big country, okay? So, and I have been talking at that time in English, which is not so, was slippery, okay? But they don't care. United States people, they don't care. They don't care because they look at you and they look at what you can say to them, what they are able to do. You know, that's actually, it's incredible. And I learned so much. So it was good. And then at some point I made I don't know whether this is a mistake or not a mistake, whatever. There's a second chapter.
Back to Italy.
I came back to Italy. And I became professor after the competition, okay, professor of economics. And I always struggled very much with the Italian academia. And I still struggling with Italian academia with these rules. But at the end, okay, I am there. Okay, so I am, what I actually like very much, what I really love very much, is what I do, what I study. Economics is beautiful. I love economics. Okay, and I will never miss studying economics. And even today, even if I am very engaged in many other things, I always reserve a time for studying, writing, studying, doing computations. I love it. I simply love it.
It's really your passion, and
it's my passion, and you know what can I say? So I would like to do it for the rest of my life. And the problem is that I didn't have the occasion, the possibility to do everything I wanted, okay, in this. And let me tell to you, in RIV Capital, we can do it.
We are doing it.
We are doing.
With the academy.
And you know, but this is not strange, Guido. This is not strange. Because if you look at the history of universities, so Bologna is the oldest university. Yeah, it's the oldest university in the world. But what is interesting, if you look at the history, how the evolution of university has occurred in the history. So Bologna was founded in 1088. So 1088 is almost like 1,000 years ago. And what's very interesting is that university during the history, they had cycles, okay? So where good things they were doing in university, and sometimes at the end of some other pieces instead, so the research were done in institutions parallel to the university. That's very interesting. So in the past, for example, but this is true also for France, not only for Italy, so the Science Academy, okay, the Academy of Sciences, they were born in the 18th century, okay, as a reaction to the bureaucracy of the universities at that time, okay. So we have this in Italy, we have this in France, everywhere, okay. And the question is, what are now today the new Academy of Sciences nowadays? So I strongly believe that at least for economics and finance, the new Academy of Sciences are companies where research and the analysis is the core. It's the core.
I agree.
The production of knowledge is the core. Because the production of knowledge has the advantage of producing two important results. First of all, it trains people. Okay, so people can read what you write, can understand what you are thinking, what you are studying. And so there's a big training process. So the conversation, people talking over coffee, what they do, that's the first. And secondly, research, makes you the company creating business. And it's not true, like many people are saying, that basic research does not produce business and company wants to keep it secret. That is not true. I can quote so many examples now that, basic research, which has originated in companies, in big investment banks, the largest, the most important investment banks, are nowadays a part of our academic culture. So it's not true. It's not true. So I think that's it's important that I strongly believe about the strict link between university and the business.
Also, I speak for the ecosystems that I know, the markets that I know around crypto, around blockchain, decentralized finance. All of these protocols, all of these apps for normal people are created in the way that more participants get access to this technology, more the whole ecosystem, all the projects work. The competition is being switched to cooperation, because talking about crypto, we need to work on a mass adoption. But how can you reach a mass adoption? You need education, you need user-friendly tools, and you need also a regulation part, a legal aspect, because now countries, governments are starting to implement. As we have Europe, we have MiCA, we have VARA in Dubai. But before of that, crypto and DeFi was a far west. Everybody could do anything, everybody could earn anything, everybody could lose anything, and there were no consequences. So it's a combination of a lot of different skills, but nobody keeps the secret in the crypto space. Everybody is trying to make the other people understand what they're doing. And there are a lot of projects that are similar, but they all work and they all grow together. Because as we saw, for example, after the elections, we had a growth, interesting growth of the Bitcoin price. It created a new time high, actually. But it wasn't just Bitcoin. It was also all the other crypto projects follow the trend. And when we see bull runs as the bull run in 2021, all the crypto projects grew. And a lot of crypto projects were born. And they basically do also very similar things. But it's a cooperation, it's not a competition.
Look, this dynamics does not surprise me, in the sense that this is a typical phenomena that occurs when a large disruptive innovation occurs. Okay, when you have in the history, when you observe a large innovation coming in, okay, in your life, you have multiple situations like that. So people enter into that, they don't do it properly, and people lose money. But this occurred everywhere in all parts of history. If you think about it, this occurred also, during the spinning power, in the British Industrial Revolution was the same. Okay, so people engaged in that. I am sure there were some bribery even at that time. So that is not problem. So some problems, but this is normal, because when you do something which is entirely new, you don't even know what you are doing, and so this is a part of the necessary phenomena, because it needs to increase and to improve, because people learn from the mistakes that other people have done. And so this is actually does not surprise, and this is good. And let me tell to you, regulation is important, very important, because regulation, when you have a situation which is completely new, is a protection. Because only people who are very good and are able to adapt themselves to the regulation can play this game. And this regulation really can help to discriminate good people from bad people. Okay? When I say good and bad, this can have many meanings, okay? Large set of meanings, okay?
I have a question, Max, going back to your to the academic part we were talking. So in other episodes of the podcast, we were talking about the importance to have a mentor in the life. Like, for example, I brought my experience, and when I started my career as with my first company, I was really happy, and I think it was crucial for me to have a mentor that could inspire me and could help me. And we talked a lot about this in our podcast, where the mentor is not necessarily someone you personally know, but is also someone that inspires you. So my question to you is, what do you think about this? And do you have a mentor, or in your past, did you have someone that particularly inspired you and was your point of your strength, that helped you create your strength?
It's a very good question, David. That's so good question. So let me tell to you, I want to be very honest. I did not have just one mentor. In the sense, I mean, taking seriously what you say, okay?
Absolutely.
So just, I had many mentors that actually inspired me, okay? So we can divide all of them in two parts. Those who are with whom I had contacts, and really they inspired me constantly during the, every day, because they were my professors and so on and so forth. And also those that inspired me without having never met them. Okay, so this is a very good question. So the first group, so people who actually I actually met. So I can quote at least, for sure, Professor Stefano Zamagni from Italy. He's still a mentor, and sometimes I call him. Okay, sometimes I have conversations with him. So I say, can I do this? What do you think? So what do you think if I do this? What do you think if I do this?
And that's exactly the relationship you should have with your mentor.
It's still ongoing, this. You can't believe it, but it's still ongoing. And probably if I still am here, it's also thanks to him, because he always gives me some advices, okay, to perceive what I'm doing here, even with you. And this is certainly one. So another mentor, it's from United States, okay. So, and certainly it's Chris Sims, Professor Sims, actually is Nobel Prize of Economics in 2011. He's a professor, actually, I wrote the dissertation under his supervision. So, and he's probably one of the brilliant minds I have met in my life, okay. So I had a lot of contacts with him, and let me tell to you, at some point he left Yale, he went to Princeton, and I followed him. I stayed close to him in Princeton. So, and every day I was to his office and discussing about my research. So I was incredibly tough, but absolutely important for me. Another mentor, and actually I did an exam with him, I want to mention because it was really incredible. It was Professor Peter Phillips, one of the most brilliant econometricians of our time. Probably one of the most brilliant econometricians of our time. Peter Phillips was absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so really. And I mean, but I can quote also, so if you want, Jim Tobin, he was Nobel Prize of Economics in 1981. When he was in Yale, he was old, but he was a very good mentor for everyone, not only for me, for all graduate students. He was so nice. Okay, so he always ready to offer advices, open to discussion, so open-minded. Really, I mean, he was a person so open-minded. It's incredible. So brilliant thinker. He was very old, but
he was wise. Old.
I mean, he was. I mean, we were discussing. I mean, we as graduate students, and still we were always attracted by most advanced technique. Okay, so more difficult mathematics, more difficult econometrics. That's what actually, as all good graduate students, they want to challenge themselves with this. Okay, but then he was always open-minded to discuss with you, even if you are of the different school of thought of him. He was so happy to discuss with you. And he was always able to give us all the intuition that actually, as graduate students, we often miss when you do research at top-notch level. You are more usually the tendency of a graduate student is to be more attracted by the tool rather than by the problem to be solved with your research. And discussing with such a very important person, he gives you a lot of intuition. Okay, so Jim Tobin was great. Okay, so another person I want to mention here, and I can't miss him. Really can't miss him. This was great. Sorry, but this was great. Professor Steve Ross, my professor of finance. If I do finance, I have to thank him. Unfortunately, he died in 2017, and that was actually he died. He was, despite the fact that he was young, so he died quite young, unfortunately. I was brilliant, absolutely incredible. So, and I loved, when I came into the room, I sit down, watching him teaching finance, for me was something like, a world opened up. So, and I'm still using all the technique I learned by him. And I do the same type of exams to my students that he asked me to do it. So, incredible person. Steve Ross is one of the founder of the most important achievement in finance that we manage every day. So incredible.
So you also
big privilege. I was lucky. I love it.
You had a lot of mentors, and this is a really important thing, because I think new generations, either they are in an academic career or they are trying a way to create their own business, or trying to find their path in entrepreneurship. They really have to identify who are their mentors. And what I think is important is to work on the network. Something that helped me a lot and helped a lot of young, successful people is to have a great network. Go to events, speak to people, create a debate, share your thoughts, because you can be right, but you can also be wrong. But from a debate, from a confrontation, a lot of time new ventures can start, new ideas can start. So Max, during lunch today, you were talking to me about another mentor of yours that I know that you are particularly proud of.
Yeah, I just want to mention Alberto Giovannini. He was one of the founders of long-term capital management funds. Okay, he was a distinguished professor at Columbia University, professor of finance, and I had the privilege of staying close to him when he appointed me. I was member of the board, first, together with him, of his investment funds in Italy, and then I succeeded him to become a chairman of this asset management company here in Italy. So basically, he wasn't the academic person who actually mixed up the knowledge, the theoretical knowledge, and mixing up with the practical things. So you see this back and forth, theory and practice. So it's an important step forward for me. So because you see in practice how economics works. So if you don't see it, so you don't understand it. Okay, so it's important to study, but it's even more important to do it.
To practice.
Yeah.
So moving forward in our conversation, I wanted to talk a bit about the role of education, also around the Web3, the blockchain, the tokenization market. So as we know, the projections of the tokenization market are expected of around 16 trillion for 2030. And what we are trying to address also with Academy is to be able to prepare new students that will be skilled in the tokenization market. This why? Because ourselves as RIV, which we are a Web3 company because we are creating Web3 products. We live in the ecosystem of the blockchain. We use a lot of AI and also tokenization, the tokenization market. So us as a company are really struggling to find the professionals and young or older people that are really skilled in tokenization, in Web3. So what do you think about this necessity that there will be in the market of companies that will need people prepared on tokenization and on blockchain technology?
So I do think that education is so crucial in the sense that if you don't know what you are doing, so you're lost. So, and this is especially important today for crypto assets in general, blockchain in general, and tokenization too. So everything which is related with the blockchain technology. So it's such a complicated issue, very different from the common mindset that people might have, that you need to acquire a specific set of skills. And this is the right occasion. I mean, having the opportunity to acquire such a huge important skills is going to be a plus for the future career of all individuals, okay? Because it's not so simple to find everywhere the opportunity to learn, okay, all these technicalities. So if you have this opportunity, this is going to give a boost to your career. It doesn't really matter where you are starting from.
Another important thing is I want to connect to what you said just before of this question is the practical part.
Okay.
So something that I think is going to be a value added is what we are bringing to market with the tokenization course.
Oh, yeah.
What we are trying to bring is also an internship experience with companies that are working for tokenization. Because as we all know, if I apply to a company, the company always asks about experience. Do you have previous experience? But this is a new market. So
Exactly.
It's really tough to have experience that can be tangible, to have a job for a Web3 company. What are we bringing? Not only education, we are working with a lot of companies from Europe or South Asia to be able to offer to our students also an internship program after the course. And I think that this will combine the theory and the practical skills that are necessary to have success in this market.
I mean, let me tell you that this is a unique occasion for young people. It's a unique occasion. So having an opportunity to get an internship in a company like that, or to learn this, I would do it. I would do it immediately. So because this actually you can add on top of your CV this experience, and then you can just use it. I mean, you don't necessarily need. So clearly, good people have to stay, okay? But if you don't like, because maybe you want to go somewhere else, but this is certainly something you can spend. So this is so education is very important. So in any case,
it's crucial.
It's crucial for in particular for this area. It's even more important.
Yeah, because this area is very new. For example,
Exactly.
Tokenization is not, as far as I know, is not taught at any university.
No,
Such a new skill.
it's a very new. Yeah, you're right. This is a totally new skill. But you know what? Let me tell to you. I mean, this is not strange. You know, because I mean, this is completely new. So in what you come to, when something goes to university, it means that it has been consolidated.
Yeah.
Okay, so it will take time, but we will go. I'm sure it's not. I mean, I don't expect too much time. So, but I'm sure that we will have some. Now we got some classes on blockchain and everything which is related with blockchain, but we don't certainly have classes going over such specific and crucial aspects such as token.
Yeah. I think referring back to what Davide was saying, what we are doing is really bringing this knowledge before other traditional institutions like universities do. And this is the key factor, because our world is moving very fast.
But this is true. This is very important, and this is also very important because university in general will provide you the common ground. So companies like that will implement the further step.
Yeah.
Okay. So even when the university will have started to create programs where blockchain is talked and so on and so forth, so it's going to be even more important anyway to have access to training programs and so on and so forth, because you can learn practical application, practical things, and how to move in this area.
Let me ask you, Max, what is your prevision for the tokenization market and the future of this technology in the financial markets?
Okay.
From your experience, from your information, what can you see in the future happening with this technology coming?
Honestly, I do personally think that this is going to be a disruptive innovation in financial context, in financial markets, and also what I'm thinking about also in asset management context. So sometimes, we were mentioning in several occasions during our conversations outside this podcast the importance of income redistribution, and the importance of guaranteeing access to people of all the most important investments, okay? So, for example, if you think about it, an investment fund may have a value for his quote. Maybe a value for this quote of this investment fund may have maybe $500, $1,000. Maybe some people don't have the possibility to buy $1,000 of investment fund quotes. But this investment funds delivers to you good return. So what you can do, if you tokenize this fund, so even people who have $1 to invest can have access to the same type of investment. So this is the huge innovation. And let me tell to you, poses a challenge, okay, for some specific type of assets now. They are in the world now commonly used in the asset management industry, but incredibly, the tokenization will make the investment fund, the traditional investment fund, more appealing. More appealing.
I think that the tokenization, this is my gut feeling, creates a win-win situation. It creates a win situation for the fund itself, but also a win situation for all the individuals, because as you said, you're giving access to anybody to access products that were specific for some kind of investors. We have funds that only professional investors can access. And those are, as you said, high-performing funds. So tokenization solves a lot of problems, but we have to remember that tokenization couldn't be possible without the blockchain technology.
Of course.
So everything starts from blockchain technology, and I say this a lot also in the courses. Everybody connects blockchain exclusively to crypto, but what people don't understand is that crypto is only one of the products that come with blockchain. Blockchain has 1,000 use cases that can be used, from notarization, tokenization, self-sovereign identity, tokens, utility tokens. There is so much more. So education, I think is really crucial.
It's the cornerstone. Absolutely, the education is the cornerstone. So, but let me tell to you, I think in the financial industry, this will be crucial, certainly. And I see that this is going to change completely, for example, the supply side, okay, the sell side of the financial industry. This is going to change completely. So the mixture between blockchain technology in general, tokenization, and the channel, which is made by, ND phones, cellular phones, the technology access to this will completely change the supply of these funds, or the investment industry, okay, the asset management industry, which actually has to force themselves to move towards the advisory. So the issue and also go back to this problem where you were mentioning you both were mentioning the issue related with education. So education is important also in order to create a plethora of advisors. So people who know how to advise other people to use the blockchain and to use the technology actually embedded in the blockchain. Because maybe some other people, some people might have the incentive to be educated, but some other people don't have, for example, the necessary age. Okay, so in that case, what you need to do to train consultant, to train advisors. Okay, so you were mentioning the existence of several type of crypto assets. So I personally do think that a crucial job that is going to be important into the future, also somebody who can really be able to distinguish among the good quality of several type of crypto securities. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. Use this rather than, and so on and so forth.
I completely agree. I mean, we need people skilled in the technological aspects of tokenization that can do consulting to companies about how to implement it in practice, like building the solution around tokenization. But we also need, as you said, financial advisors that can that know about this new asset class.
But let me tell you, you touch an important point. So let me tell you that. So I personally do think that even financial advisors now who are in the profession, they absolutely need to have access to one of these courses to get a good grip about what is blockchain, what is tokenization, what are the several types of crypto securities, and so on and so forth. So why I'm saying that? Because I am 100% sure that most of their customers, most of their clients, they're going to see them and they were going to ask them, so what should I do? Should I invest in these crypto securities? Should I not? Why yes? Why not?
Because people ask their financial advisor.
Of course. And so the financial advisor, if it's well trained, he or she can answer correctly. But if she doesn't have any training about that.
So do you feel that there is a gap between the knowledge of financial advisor today and what people are asking, especially with this?
Absolutely yes. And let me tell you that, let me dig deeper into that. That's a very important point. First of all, because today the situation is that who has the money are not the young people. Yeah. And so financial advisors in general tend to advise old people who have the money. But this is no longer true. Okay? So because sometimes also young people, want to discuss, interact. And also, let me tell to you, if a financial advisor needs to interact with a young person, needs to speak the same language of the young person. And now everybody, old, youngs in the world, young generation, new generations, they are much more attracted by this type of investment than the traditional type of investment. So I'm pretty sure that if the traditional finance industry should fast evolve by considering seriously the innovation coming from the blockchain. Okay? So I'm not saying that the traditional finance industry will disappear. No way. No way. I'm just saying that the traditional finance industry might take advantage of this technology to have,
they will coexist in the same.
I'm sure, 100%.
As normal shops coexist with e-commerce.
You're right, but look at this. Look at the normal shops. So how people behave now today? So people go to the website of the shop, they decide what they want to buy. They place the order, and they go to the shop to see in practice the product, maybe to try this, to wear it, and so on and so forth. But the web commerce is crucial now. If you don't have a web commerce, you're dead. Okay? But the same is true now for the blockchain in general. So if a traditional asset manager, I think, is not starting thinking about to have a good grip about, at least to have a good grip of what blockchain is. I'm not saying that this asset manager should use 100% the blockchain. At least you need to know what is it. What are we talking about?
It's the same situation that was with internet when the internet started.
Yeah.
When internet started, I went to a company and tried to sell them an e-commerce. That wouldn't make no sense. But in those years, the companies needed to start a process of evolving to the internet, passing from Web 1, Web 0 to Web 2, which is internet. Right now, what we are discussing is that companies have to start a process to become Web 3. They don't have to do tomorrow morning their cryptocurrency. But as you said, it's crucial. They allocate a budget, they allocate some time to be able to understand what the technology is and what are the use cases of this technology.
You can't miss this. You can no longer miss this. So, I mean, you really need to understand, and then you can even decide to don't use it.
Absolutely, why not?
But you have to learn to understand, and also, I mean, but sooner or later you have to use it, because I just picture the scene. So financial advisor, so a grandma. So she, at some point she has a lot of money. So maybe that day she's sick, and she said, "So ask to my nephew, okay, to go see my financial advisor." So the nephew go to the financial advisors and they start discussing about the money of the grandma. I'm sure this guy, the nephew, the young person, certainly will go discussing the blockchain. I have this experience. So, but let me tell to you, Guido, one point, and actually I wanted to make this point. Financial advisors some of them are very attracted
to crypto.
Because why? Because they have a contact with their clients. But what's the problem? What is one of the problems that they have? That the company for which they are working, until now, they were reluctant, okay, to discuss about blockchain. They were reluctant. Because, first of all, because they felt themselves threatened by the blockchain, by crypto securities in general. All right. Now the situation is changing, because the smartest of them, they are trying to understand that this can represent an opportunity for them, or at least they can't miss it, because otherwise they run the risk of losing their customers. Because if I am a customer and I talk to financial advisor and I ask him or her, what is this? And I find a financial advisor which is completely ignorant about that, maybe I have to move to another financial advisor who actually at least knows what we are talking about.
But Max, let me tell you something. With the advent of smartphones, social media, what you see going on is that people start investing by themselves. So this, I think, is both a really dangerous thing and at the same time a big opportunity. For example, a lot of people talk about trading. There are courses around trading. There are platforms that allow you to simply buy stocks and simply buy crypto. But again, we need to go back to the education point, because these instruments make trading, make investing really, really simple to actually do. But if you don't have the right knowledge, it could be catastrophic.
I totally agree.
For individuals. So individuals have to have a basic knowledge. They don't have to teach. They don't have to become professors, but they
need to have a basic knowledge, first of all. And I totally agree. But let me tell to you, I mean, there is a subtlety in what you said. So in my opinion, the profession of the advisor within this environment will be reinforced. And this means that we need to train advisors, not only people for sure, okay, but we also need to be focused also on training advisors. Why I'm saying that? Because the supply of financial products, the supply of crypto assets, the supply of tokenization assets. It's so big that it's impossible that one single person who has to work maybe 8-10 hours per day has the time, even if it's trained, has the time to read everything about the properties of each single asset. You need somebody who can do the job for you. Okay, even if you know, for example, let me give you an example. Even if I am trained about what is a stock, what is a bond, what is an investment fund, okay, I know perfectly what they are, but what I can miss, the characteristics of one specific stock, one specific investment fund. This is something that, given the enormous supply that there is in the market, only an advisor, okay, who can have the opportunity to read, to study, to interact with the market, can give you good advices. Okay, obviously, you can even do by yourself, but this is another matter of story. So, I mean, you can do by yourself and also with the help of somebody. But at the basic, at the core of everything, there is the education, of course. Because even when you sit down and you discuss with an advisor, you need to speak the same language.
Absolutely. It's my point was around the fact that a lot of the social picture, the investment world, the becoming rich, the generating profits, really, really simple. But it's simple to do, but it's difficult to succeed. It's difficult to have success. Even skilled people struggle in the crypto ecosystem. Even a lot of skilled people I personally know, also we don't know, lost it all a lot of times. So when I hear people buying meme coins just because they saw an ad on the social, this is really, really dangerous. This is the far west. So going back to where we started around the compliance part, I think it's really important that if you want to create your crypto project, if you want to have success in the long run in the Web3 ecosystem, you need to be qualified from the technical part, but more important on the compliance part.
Absolutely.
So I was listening to you speaking the other day around, we were talking about inflation, and we were talking about also portfolios and investment strategies. And I would like to talk really briefly about the diversification, how the crucial role of diversification, because people could think, maybe I really believe in this asset, I really believe in this stock, and I go all in this stock.
It's a big mistake.
But it's a big mistake. The diversification, as you teach me, is really, really important. And there are a lot of...
it's important for many reasons. First of all, because you can diversify the single risk associated to each single stock. And this is one issue. The diversification properties are, I mean, we can stay here discussing for hours and months if you want, days, okay? So, but first of all, if you want to really get rid of the risk associated with each single stocks, you need to have a portfolio well diversified, which means essentially that you need to find financial instruments, not only stocks, but you can think about bonds and also crypto securities, which are the less correlated, possibly the least correlated among themselves, the lowest possible correlation among themselves. Only in that way you can get away of the risk associated to one single stock. But in order to be able to diversify, it's not something that is easy, because it's easy to see, it's easy to explain, it's easy to study. It's extremely difficult to do it. Because if you want to have a very good diversification of portfolio, you need to understand, you need to pick up this financial instruments which have a very low, lowest possible correlation among themselves, if you want to really have a large advantage of diversification. Or, alternatively, you need to have a huge number of securities where you invest on. But okay, since money is something which is not infinite, So it's a problem of allocating scarce resources. Okay, so if your money is limited, you need to optimize over a limited number of securities, not thousands. Okay, if you have a huge investment funds, you can allow yourself to diversify over thousands and thousands securities. But you have only small amount of money. You have to be very smart in diversifying over a small number of securities.
Is there a magic number?
There is. Markowitz shows very clearly that you need to be invested in at least 20, no less than 20 securities. Okay, so at least 20 securities. But never forget one fact, that even if you build a portfolio which is completely well diversified, you don't get rid of the market risk. You still have the market risk in your portfolio.
Then you should diversify also in the markets.
Yeah, but this helps. You need other theories to do that. Okay, so which is the factor. Okay, arbitrage pricing theory, made by Steve Ross, my professor of finance. So you need to have arbitrage pricing theory. This diversifies even can get rid also of the market risk. Okay, so you need investment is difficult, finance is difficult. Okay, so you need to be trained just to understand the language. Okay, just to understand the language. So okay, and don't ask me being trained to go deeper into the technique. Okay, so this is to say that investment is a science. It's not a joke. So we can't talk about So people usually talks about finance and economics like we were talking about soccer. Okay, so in the sense that we can sit down and talk about how successful was the soccer player in the team, your favorite team or whatever. It doesn't work in that way with economics and finance. Okay, so people pretend to do that. They don't, 99% of cases, they made huge mistakes. They don't know economics at all. Even those who know economics and finance. Okay, this is the main problem that we have nowadays. Okay, so and this goes back to what you are saying. You both were saying. So you need to have people who are trained also to understand who is saying good things, who is saying bad things. So the training is essential because it's like wearing glasses. Okay, wearing high glasses you are. I got the high glasses too, but you wear the high glasses. You understand better, you can read better. Okay, so that helps you. Okay, so and this is very important even for your practical life.
So let me, going towards the end of this episode, let me ask you, what is the advice someone like you with your background, with all of your experience and academic experience would give to a young student in economics and finance right now, given the actual situation we have?
Certainly don't miss the opportunity to understand what blockchain is, what crypto assets are. So certainly try to understand and try to study to see how it's possible to integrate. I think this is going to be a very interesting research project. Try to understand how it's possible to integrate this new way of thinking about finance within the traditional finance context. I have several ideas about that. Several.
So you're talking about the combination of traditional and the centralized finance.
I do personally think that for young students, for example, not necessarily a PhD students, but also just even an undergraduate students. Understanding these two universe and try to make a fruitful bridge between them. So it's going to be a plus for her career, and it's going to be very important.
Because obviously with this change, with this innovation, I think will come a lot of challenges and a lot of problems. And the best way to have a successful company is to find a solution to a problem.
First of all, and also to find good people to work with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big challenge. And what if I were to ask you, what is your favorite book you would say it's a must read for someone which is attracted to finance and economics? maybe not, I don't know, not a technical book, but something that can motivate someone that wants to have a career in this landscape.
Are you talking about in finance, you mean?
Yes.
Finance? It's hard to say. But I think, so it's, recommending books is always hard. I can recommend mine. Okay, so
For sure.
Okay, so I am writing a book on, which is going to be published by Cambridge University Press. But this is a bit technical. Okay, so, but this is okay. So I can make some advertisement about myself. But this is fine. I can do it here in my place here. So, but anyway, so I some nice textbooks, some nice books. For traditional finance, I think John Cochrane's professor at Chicago Booth, okay, and John Campbell, professor at Harvard University. So they are both they wrote a lot of very interesting books about the behavior of finance. So they are quite advanced, but anyway. So you can read through the lines, okay, through the equations, so you can really understand this. About economics, just pure economics textbook, I do personally think that a master of wonderful, it's no longer published, is a very famous textbook by Rudiger Dorbusch and Stanley Fischer, Macroeconomics. It's a very old book, but everyone can have access to it. And it's a wonderful book to understand economics. Okay.
And you were talking to me these days that we have been together about some research and some papers that you are working on. Tell us just to end this very interesting chat we had. What are you working on right now? And obviously, if you can share with us.
Of course, it's a pleasure, actually. It's a big pleasure. Thank you for this question. So I actually am working on several research projects, okay? So one research project is about fragmentation of monetary policy. So in the sense that I built a model together with a friend of mine who actually works at the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, okay, in Virginia. So we actually have a model where actually we see we identified an upper threshold level for the interest rate, and we see that the public debt can be constrained within this upper level, and this allows you for an economy to have a more relaxing approach to public debt stabilization. So thanks to this upper limit, we have basically applied the target zone theory to a macroeconomic model, and this is one piece of research where I'm working on. A second piece of research is about the interaction between the real side of the economy and the monetary and the financial side. And I'm starting working on a model where actually in the pricing of any financial security is embedded the risk which comes from the public debt. Okay, so in each economy, we have the public debt, which actually is a burden, and this inserts into the economy a risk, okay, which also affect the stock market. And the question is how this interacts, how this is important. So this come out is probably one of the most interesting research I've done in my life was the term structure of interest rate. This is pretty much close to that. And then I have some other research projects actually where also RIV Capital is involved, is about the movement of securities, several securities, and the interaction between the real side and the financial side, okay, and the role, the interaction in terms of volatility, conditional volatility, of also crypto securities and several asset classes. So in that case, the goal is to find out not just an optimal correlation structure, which is not exactly that we want to, because it's a different concept. What we want to understand somehow is which asset classes which is the asset class which sends the volatility to other asset classes. So we are not longer talking about correlation today. So the focus of this research is to understand the net transmitter or receivers of volatility. So within this context, we will understand how crypto securities can be considered under which policy regimes and under which market condition regimes asset classes can be affected or not affected in terms of volatility transmission or volatility receiving from crypto assets.
Fantastic. Seems really, we are looking forward to it, and also working together with you is an absolute pleasure. And hopefully you will start coming more often in the future to meet us here in our offices in Dubai. And I'm really happy that we had this chat together. I think we touched some really, really interesting points. Obviously, we focused a lot around education.
Yeah.
But also we managed to understand what the future will bring us and will bring to the market.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, guys. It was a big pleasure. Thank you for me.
Thank you.